Originally, WordPress was a simple blogging platform, but as it matured, it became so much more than that. Now it's grown into a fully functional content management system. One of the ways that we can take control of the WordPress admin interface is to create our own custom post type. We could take it beyond being just a way to create regular blog posts and static pages. We could create posts for products, team members, case studies, or property listings. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do here. I'll explain how to install the custom post type UI plugin and then create some PHP templates to display your content exactly how you want it to look. Let me show you what we'll eventually be building, and this is kind of in the future for what you're about to see. I'm going to show you the finished product first, and then I'll go back, I'll delete everything, and I'll rebuild it from the beginning. But this is our starter WordPress site. So we've just got this home page and a sample about page. It's just got a bunch of placeholder content, and then I've got a sample blog here with some posts, and then this contact page. You may have seen the other video that I did that had building this contact form out. But I've got this new section called properties. And so I've added 6, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in these columns of 3, 2 rows here. We could add additional ones. So we've got this here is one property, and then this other section is another one. Here's another one. If I go into one of these properties, I can click on the featured image or the address, which is actually the title of the article. And then here's a single property. So this is the actual title of the article, just like a blog post, like post 1 or post 2. And then we've got this featured image with this badge or flag or whatever we would call this for some kind of extra thing we want to highlight. And then we've got this area for a general description of the property and a realtor photo with some realtor information. We've got this name, company, email, which is linked, and then a phone number. And then these specs where we've got the price and the general info that you would see on a regular property. But this was also, these are the pieces below the featured image on that original properties page. We've got this extras section. And then we have this navigation that looks a little bit like a blog navigation, doesn't it? So we can go to the previous property. Now this one doesn't have a badge. And we've got a different realtor, sample realtor over here. These are just stock images, and these are stock images of the properties as well. So this gives us a navigation to, or pagination to go between all of the properties. We can go back here and look at the property, or all the properties. This new menu on the left is my new properties custom post type. Instead of posts or pages, it allows me to organize my properties in a new section. We've got all of these properties. I entered these just like I did a blog post. We've got this regular admin area, and I added all this HTML in here. And then I turned on the excerpt and then added the excerpt. Now, I'm using the excerpt for the information that shows up below the featured image for the property. So that gives you an idea of where we're headed. So we'll go back in time, and I'll show you how I built this. Let me show you how to create a custom post type. So I'll go over to Plugins and then click Add New. And I'll search for Custom Post Type UI. And I'll click Install Now. And then instead of activating, I'm going to install another one called Simple Custom Post Order that we'll use later. And I'll click Install Now on that one. And now we'll go over to the plugins page again. And we've got both of these new plugins. So I'll go ahead and activate them. I'll activate that one and activate the Simple Custom Post Order. And then now we have this new menu item for CPT UI, or Custom Post Type UI. So now we're on the Add New Post Type tab. So we're going to create property listings. So I'm going to put in properties, and then for the plural label, it'll be properties, but I'll do a capital P for this one. And singular property. And instead of clicking add post type, I'm going to scroll down. Now we could fill in all of this stuff, but it'll fill this in with really good defaults if we don't put anything else. We'll go in this settings section. I'm going to go down to, let's see, show in, nope, that's not it. Which one is it that I'm going to that I need to find here? Has archive, that's it. So I'll set that from false to true. And then for menu icon, I'll click this dash icon class name, or dash icon, I'm not sure which one it is. And I see this multi-site icon, that'll do. So I'll select that. And what I'm doing here is when we get the new custom post type, instead of this default thumbtack, I'd like a custom icon. So I'll paste that one there. And while I'm here, I'm going to turn on the excerpt because I'll use that to add some additional content. I think that's about it. So I'll click Add Post Type. So now we have this new menu item here called Properties, and it's got our icon that we selected. If we go into it, it's empty, of course. So what we'll do is I'll create some new properties. So add new property, and I've already got these figured out here on another monitor. So let me just copy this in. I'll put the address as the title, and then I'll just grab a block of HTML and I'll put that here in the editor. So let me show you what I've got. So the outer part is this class of property detail, and I have this clearing class just to clear a float that I'll do. I've got a description section, and then a specs for specification section, and I'll float this to the left of specs. And then I've got this badge, and then within description I've got this intro paragraph, and I've just Greeked this out with some fake placeholder text. And then I've got this image, and let me show you how I actually added that. I've previously added some images to the media library, so I'll select our Jennifer Realtor. This is just a stock photo that I found. I'll click Insert into Post. So that's where it placed it. But it's got the alt text here. But we don't need the width and the height because this is responsive. And instead of these classes, I'm just going to replace that with Realtor because I've written some CSS for that. And then we've got this paragraph section where I've just added some information about the realtor. We've got the realtor's name, the realtor's company, a link to their email address, and then a phone number. And then under specs, I've included the price in a level 2 heading, and then a bullet list with bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage, and then a level 3 heading for extras, and then a paragraph of just some sample extras that apply to the property. And then in the excerpt, I'll add 3 lines here. Let me open this up just a little bit. So we've got the beds, baths, and square footage, and then a level 3 heading of the price. Now it's the same one as I've got up there, and the same information actually in the specs. And then here's that same badge that I've got. So that'll make sense after I've created the image. Now, the final thing is it would be really great to have a big image for the property. So I've got some sample property photos that I found on a stock photo site. So I'll click Set Featured Image and click Publish. So if I go back to all properties, now I've got that one property. So I'll go through and add a bunch of other properties, but let's take a look at this. I'll open this up in a new tab. And so what we have now is we've got the properties directory and then the name of our title as the new property. One thing I forgot to mention, after you install the Custom Post UI plugin, sometimes you need to go over to your permalinks and just select off of this post name and click Save Changes and then come right back to post name. Sometimes it won't register the new custom post type. So that should take care of the URLs. So if you're having troubles viewing your post, let me close these tabs. If you're having troubles viewing your post, maybe it's that you need to reset your permalinks. So what we have here is, here's our big property image. That's the featured image for our custom post type. Here's the title. And then we've got that intro paragraph. We've got a realtor photo, some realtor information here, the property price. We've got the beds, baths, and footage, and then a section of extras. And then this eventually will be our badge, and this will show up here off to the side of the property image. So this is the way that our blog looks, but this isn't the structure that I'd like the property listings to look. So if I show you the blog, you'll see that what we were seeing over there on that post or that property is the image, the featured image is on top. And let me go into this post. There we go. So the featured image is at the top, and then our post title is here. But really, I'd like the property listing or the property address to be above that, then the image, and then I'd like to style up some of the rest of it. So the way that we do that is, let me go back to it. The way that we do the custom layout, and I'll go over to my editor. This is just Sublime Text. So in my theme, and I'm using the Astra theme, I've opened up this archive page. We'll use that for the landing page. But for our individual property listing or property detail page, I'll take a copy of this single.php. You may remember if you've created a blog that archive is usually for the listings of your blog, or maybe it uses index.php, but archive would be for some of the categories and searches and things like that. But single.php is the actual template, the default template for blog posts. So for our custom post type, I'd like to paste that here. And there's a few things that we don't need. So we're not going to have a sidebar. So I can get rid of these sections here. And then also we don't need this one. And I think there's a couple up here. Actually, we're going to replace this loop and our primary content loop and the content loop. We're going to put in our own information there. So what I've done is I've gone in and looked at those actual template parts in my theme, and I'm able to add it in here. So I've got what I was able to see is a main ID main, a class of site main. Now yours may be a little bit different. And then I've got an article with a class of AST for Astra, article single. And then inside of that, I've got div class equal, entry content and another clear. And I'll give myself a little note that that's what that div is for. And then inside of entry content, I've got a header with a class of entry header. Excuse me, I mistyped header. And an H1 with a class of entry title. And I already know the default PHP way to do this is with the title in a PHP block, and that'll pull in the title of the custom post, or in our case, the property. So then I'm going to give myself an area here, single property, and close that up. Give myself a ending comment there. And then a div class equal hero photo. And this is where I'll put in the post thumbnail code. I'll come back to that in a moment. So the way that we do that is open up a PHP block and close it here. And then if has post thumbnail, the post thumbnail. So that should pull in our featured image. Then just below that, I'm going to put another function, the content, that'll pull in all the content that's in that main edit window. And then finally, after this section, I'd like some pagination. So what this will do is this will give us a next property and a previous property. But actually, let me just pull this in from my other document. And so what that gives us here is an outer div of pagination, and then this link, this is how you write for the previous post link, or sorry, the next post link and the previous post link. But actually I've reversed those because I'd like the next one on the left, so I've kind of reversed the labels there. And what I need to do is I need to put all of this inside the loop, the WordPress loop. So below my entry content clear, I'm going to start the loop if have posts while have posts the post. And then I'll move all of this over to give us some room. And then end while and end if. And then I'll save this as single, and then the name of our custom post types slug, in this case it's properties, single dash properties. So that should then, if I got everything right there, just comparing it with my original, I think I've got everything. So now let's go over to our front end and I'll reload this. It should pull up that template. And now we've got the address as the H1 above our image. It's still unstyled, but we still have our intro paragraph and then all of the rest of the information down below. I think the next thing to do here is we've created this one property, but let me go back over to the admin and I'll go ahead and speed through adding the rest of our properties. I'll add 5 more, so we'll have a total of 6, but I'll just speed through. You'll see it going in fast motion, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I've gone through and added all 6 of the properties. Let me show you back on the main properties page here. We've got, here's our first one, a second one, third one, fourth, fifth, and sixth one. But these are not in the order that I'd like for them to be displayed. So usually in a blog post, in a blog archive, you've got the latest one on top. But that simple custom post order plugin that I installed will allow me to grab hold of these properties and reorder them. So I'll reorder them in sort of numeric order, in the order that I created them. There we go. So now on our main properties page, they should be listed in this order. So speaking of which, if we come back over to our page and I get rid of this individual property name, just go to the properties landing page. Now this is using the default archives.php template, but I can scroll through here and then see there's our first one. Here's our second one. And what this is doing is this is taking the featured image and the title, and then it's pulling the excerpt. So that's why I added or duplicated that content for each one into the excerpt. So we'll fix this up with a custom template to match for archives for the properties archive. But I wanted to give you an idea of where we are headed. So if I click on one of these, then we're back to our individual property. So I've created some CSS, and just for simplicity, I don't like working in this this little editor here, but I've just gone through and created some CSS that I've commented out. Let me just go through and uncomment the blocks of CSS that I wrote, and then I'll go back and show you how it gets all styled up with the floats and clears and all the styling for the realtor and the realtor photo. And almost done here. There we go. So let me publish that and go back to this page. Now, if I reload on this one property, you'll see that we have our title. Now our badge is up here. So I've done that with CSS. And this is our description area. So it's got that intro paragraph and then this image for the realtor and then the realtor information. And then over here on the right are the specs, and then here are the extras. And then here are the pagination links at the bottom. So we can go back or go to the properties, and then we can go back into the individual one. We can also go to the next property and go back to the previous one or on to the next one here. And now you'll see, to me, it makes sense to have previous on the left and next on the right. That's why I reverse them in my template. But you could have next on the left and previous. I think that's the default way to do it in a blog, because you're kind of going to the left when you go to the newer one. So anyway, now let's see what's next. If we go back to this View All Properties page, I think I'd like to tackle this page here. So the same way that we created the single dash properties page, I'd like to create a custom template that will style this up with all the right information in the right order. So this is Astra's default archive.php file. So I'll copy that, select it all and copy it, and then paste it into a new file. I'll go ahead and name it. Now the same way that I named the other one, it's archive dash and then the slug for the custom post type properties, archive dash properties. And then I can go through, and again, there's some information that I don't need. We don't have a sidebar like we did on this one, so I get rid of this sidebar here, and then let's see, I think we can get rid of this bottom primary content bottom, and then up on the top we can get rid of this content top and archive header and the Astra content loop. And I think that's it. So we'll leave this Astra pagination. Okay, so now let's build out our template. So we've got a main ID of main, class of site main, and close that up. And then within there we've got a header class of entry header. This is a lot like the other one. the single one that we did. And we've got an H1 class of entry title. And I know this is going to say properties, so I'll just go ahead and put that in there. And then a paragraph where I'll say choose a property to view additional details. Okay. Let's come down below that. Now, much the same way we did on the other one, got this entry content area with a clearing class /div. I'll give myself a little comment that that's ending there. And then div class equal properties wrapper. Let's see. Properties. This just makes it easier to find things if we go into the web inspector to look at our code. Then div class equal, created some CSS for a simple grid to lay these out in a 3x3 grid, or three properties wide. Okay, flex grid. And this is where we'll put our loop, because all of our properties need to be inside the WordPress loop. So I'll just copy and paste that like I had before from the single template. And then inside our loop, we've got, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this part. It's going to be a link around our featured image. So, and I see that I missed a section here. I'd like for this to be in a column container. And then I need to end, let's see. No, I think that's got it. Did I get everything? Yeah, I think I did. So this is archive properties. So if we come back over here, this is our default archive.php template, but that's not in the order and none of these things are styled up. So if I hit refresh on my browser, now we have our images. I can see that I've missed something because none of our information is showing below, but it is in a 3-column grid. Let's go back over and see. Yeah, so inside our column, I missed this section here. Class equal property info. Again, that's just for my CSS. And then an H2 and a link. I'll come back to that. And then our function of the title. Close our link and close the H2. So for this, we need another PHP function for the permalink. And then after the H2, we'll put in another function for the excerpt. And this will pull in our property excerpt. And I've misspelled that. There we go. So I've saved it. Now let's go back over to here. If I refresh and I've got everything in the right place. Okay, now looks like we've got things looking a whole lot better. So we have our badge for on sale or great view or big lot. We've got our featured image, and then this is our information from our excerpt. We've got the address, which is a link, and the image is linked. And then we've got the other parts that we put in the excerpt. And if I select one of these, I can click on the image or I can click on the address. It'll go to our individual property. I can go to the next property and next. And when I'm ready to go back to the archive page. Now I can go back here. I can see something looks a little bit different. This area is supposed to be in another container, so I think I've probably missed some kind of, right, so I'm missing an article container. So let's fix that just to be consistent with the rest of the HTML. I'll pull all of this over. Let's see, so we need everything down to here, and then close up that article tag. There we go. So now if I reload, okay, there, that's the way I was expecting it to look. So now we've got this nice clean white area, and if I go into a property now, it's the same thing there. I can go back to view all properties. So I've opened up this tab directly from one of the properties. So if we go to any one of the other pages, I don't really have a way to get back to properties. So I need to add that properties section. So that's our custom post type here. Let's go into appearance and then menus. And if I come down to this section here, we've got properties. And I'm going to do view all properties, add to menu. So I'm just going to move that to here and click Save Menu. Now that should add, if I refresh my browser, there we go. Actually, I'm going to do one other thing. Instead of all properties, it is going to go to all properties, but I'd like to change the label just to properties. And I'll refresh. So now we've got this properties menu item. If I click on it, we get that archive properties PHP template that I created. And then if I select one of these properties, it'll go into the single properties template. And now we've got it in the navigation. We can go to the blog, we can go to properties. So let me give you a quick review of what we've done. We've installed the custom post type UI plugin, which created our new custom post type. And then I went in and created all of these posts. I used simple custom post order to rearrange them. By the way, let me just do that again. If I pull this down, and then I'll pull this one down, and it automatically saves it. I think I forgot to mention that before, but if I click reload, now you'll see that they've been reordered. So here's the first one. Here's the second one. The third one's down here, 4, 5, and then 6. So as you drag these around with the simple custom post order plugin, it will automatically save the new order. And this won't affect your blog. If you have a blog, it won't affect the order. So those will be in reverse chronological order like you would expect. And one other thing to note here, we have a lot of HTML in this admin area. And as we're maintaining this, or maybe we're handing this off to a client and they're an actual realtor or real estate agent or somebody working for them, they may not be as comfortable as we are with HTML. So it may be a lot easier to give them a much simpler interface where instead of putting all of this raw HTML in here, they could just do the title, they could add the featured image, and then instead, wouldn't it be nice if this whole big admin area was broken up into shorter sections? So what if they just entered this intro area as a like a text area, and then you could have some kind of selector where you could add this image, and then you could add these individual things. So you just add the realtor's name, the realtor's company, etc. Also, it would be nice if they added the price just once. So they have a field, a separate field for price, and then a separate field for beds, baths, and square footage, and the extras and the badge. And then instead of doubling it up down here in the excerpt, well, we could just get rid of excerpt. So we would just put it once in a field, a separate custom field, and then we could pull that into our templates. The same content could go into our archive template, and then it could also go into our single template. So that's a little advanced preview of what we're going to do in the next video. I'll cover something called advanced custom fields, which will allow us to change our custom post type entry administration tasks into something a whole lot easier for someone who maintains this site to add in the information. Also, it might be us, so I may come back months from now and it'll be a lot easier for me to update that content as well. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions on custom post types or WordPress development in general, you can reach out to me on my website at mpgilbert.com. I've also included some links to my social media accounts in the description.